Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're tackling a really important topic, one that affects millions of people around the world: the impact of smoking on our lungs. We often hear that smoking is bad for us, but what does that actually mean? What is happening inside our bodies with every puff? We're going to take a closer, visual journey to understand the 10 major ways smoking affects the very organs that give us life. Stick with me, because what you're about to see might just change your perspective for good. First up, let's talk about the immediate irritation. The moment you inhale smoke, it's not just air you're breathing in. It's a cocktail of over 7,000 chemicals, including things like formaldehyde, ammonia, and hydrogen cyanide. These substances are harsh irritants. Imagine spraying a chemical cleaner directly onto a delicate surface. That's essentially what's happening to the lining of your airways. This immediate irritation is what causes that smoker's cough, especially in the morning. Your lungs are desperately trying to clear out the toxic sludge that has built up overnight. It's the body's first line of defense, a cry for help signaling that it's being attacked by foreign, harmful substances. This constant irritation is the starting point for so many of the more serious problems we'll discuss. Next, we have the paralysis of cilia. Now you might be wondering, what are cilia? Picture tiny microscopic hairs lining your airways. Their job is to constantly wave back and forth, like a gentle broom, sweeping mucus, trapped dust, and germs up and out of your lungs. They are your lungs' self-cleaning mechanism. However, the chemicals in cigarette smoke, particularly tar, paralyze these little helpers. They stop moving. When the cilia can't do their job, that mucus and all the trapped gunk have nowhere to go. They just sit there, clogging up your airways and creating a perfect breeding ground for infections. This is why smokers are much more susceptible to colds, bronchitis, and pneumonia. Their lungs' natural cleaning crew has been put out of commission. This leads us directly to our third point: increased mucus production. As a response to the constant irritation from smoke, the glands in your airways, called goblet cells, go into overdrive. They start producing way more mucus than usual. It's the body's attempt to trap and neutralize the toxins you're inhaling. But remember, the cilia are paralyzed. So you have this double whammy. Your lungs are producing excessive amounts of thick, sticky mucus, and the system designed to clear it out is broken. This results in that chronic cough and the feeling of a constantly congested chest. You're trying to manually cough up what your body should be clearing out automatically. Over time, this thick mucus can permanently narrow the airways, making it harder and harder to breathe. Now for number 4, inflammation and swelling. The constant chemical assault triggers a chronic inflammatory response in your lung tissue. Think about what happens when you get a cut on your skin. It gets red, swollen, and tender. That's inflammation, your body's healing response. But with smoking, this response is happening constantly inside your lungs. The airways become persistently swollen and narrowed. This condition is known as chronic bronchitis, which is a key part of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. This isn't a temporary state, it's a long-term progressive disease. The constant inflammation makes every breath a struggle, like trying to breathe through a straw that keeps getting narrower. Number 5 is a big one: damage to the alveoli. Deep inside your lungs are millions of tiny delicate air sacs called alveoli. This is where the magic happens, where oxygen passes into your blood and carbon dioxide is removed. Cigarette smoke directly attacks and destroys the fragile walls of these air sacs. They lose their elasticity and eventually rupture, creating larger, inefficient air spaces, instead of the tiny, effective ones you were born with. This irreversible damage is called emphysema, another major component of COPD. As more and more alveoli are destroyed, your lungs become less and less able to absorb the oxygen your body needs. This leads to severe shortness of breath, making even simple activities like walking upstairs or carrying groceries feel like running a marathon. Let's move on to number 6, the buildup of tar. Tar is the sticky black residue left behind by burning tobacco. With every cigarette, a layer of this toxic substance is deposited in your lungs. If you smoke a pack a day, you could be coating your lungs with up to a full cup of tar every single year. This tar stains your lung tissue, turning them from a healthy pink color to a sickly gray or black. But it's not just a cosmetic issue. This tar contains numerous carcinogens, cancer-causing chemicals that sit directly on your lung cells, day in and day out, significantly increasing your risk of developing lung cancer. It also contributes to the clogging of airways and the destruction of the alveoli we just talked about. Point number 7 is about cellular changes and DNA damage. The carcinogens in tar and smoke don't just sit there. They actively damage the DNA within your lung cells. Your DNA is the instruction manual for your cells, telling them how to grow and behave. When this DNA is damaged, the cells can start to grow out of control and mutate. This is how cancer begins. Your body has repair mechanisms, but the constant bombardment from cigarette smoke can overwhelm these systems. A single cell with damaged DNA can begin to multiply uncontrollably, forming a tumor. This is why smoking is the #1 cause of lung cancer, responsible for about 90% of all cases. Number 8 is reduced lung function. This is the cumulative effect of everything we've discussed so far. The narrowed airways from bronchitis, the destroyed air sacs from emphysema, and the clogged passages from tar all combine to drastically reduce your lungs' capacity to function. Lung function naturally declines slowly with age, but for smokers, this decline happens at a much faster rate. This loss is often gradual, so you might not notice it at first. Maybe you get winded a little more easily, or you can't keep up like you used to. But over time, this progresses to severe disability, where you might need supplemental oxygen just to perform daily tasks. And here's the critical part. While quitting can stop the accelerated decline, the function you've already lost cannot be regained. Our 9th point is an increased risk of infections. As we mentioned, the paralyzed cilia and excess mucus create a perfect, stagnant environment for bacteria and viruses to thrive. Your lungs' natural defenses are severely weakened. This means smokers not only get more respiratory infections like pneumonia and influenza, but these infections are often more severe and take longer to recover from. Your body is fighting a battle on 2 fronts: the infection itself and the damage caused by smoking. This vicious cycle can lead to repeated hospitalizations and further permanent lung damage. Finally, number 10, the scarring of lung tissue. The chronic inflammation and repeated damage we've talked about don't just go away. Your body tries to heal, but instead of regenerating healthy lung tissue, it often forms scar tissue. This process is called pulmonary fibrosis. This scar tissue is thick and stiff, and it replaces the flexible, elastic tissue your lungs need to expand and contract properly. As more scar tissue forms, your lungs become progressively stiffer, making it incredibly difficult to breathe. It's like your lungs are being slowly encased in cement. This is a severe and life-limiting condition with no cure, and smoking is a major risk factor. Seeing this laid out, from the first cough to the final irreversible scarring, paints a stark picture. But I want to end on a note of hope. The human body is incredibly resilient. The moment you quit smoking, your body starts to heal. Within just a few weeks, your cilia begin to regrow and function again. Your risk for many of these conditions starts to drop. It's never too late to make a change. If you or someone you know is struggling with quitting, please know that help is available. Talk to a doctor, call a quit line, or look up resources from organizations like the American Lung Association. Taking that first step is the most powerful thing you can do for your health. Thank you so much for watching and for taking the time to understand this important topic. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content that can help us all live healthier lives. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.